I've always been fascinated by time. Even as a child, just the idea of time, its existence, how it moves, how it shapes our lives. But it wasn't until I started doing this work as a productivity coach and building a time strategy system that I really began to see time almost as a living entity. That time, if respected, can give back to us tenfold. Time is something we all have access to. How we use it, however, hold it close, or sometimes even give it away without thinking, can make all the difference in the world. Lately, my brain's been looping back to how some tools in our lives help us save time while others waste it miserably. But when we find a tool, something that helps us save time, or we think it's going to save us time, it can become like a golden tool, one that is foundational and helps our process evolve. I remember back in 1987, I was just graduating from high school and I needed a typewriter for university. I had won a small scholarship and spent $500 on this typewriter. That was a lot of money back then. But not just any typewriter. This was a Brother corrective typewriter, brand new at the time. And what made it special was the corrective tape on the inside of the typewriter. So instead of pulling the paper out every time you made a mistake and throwing it away, starting all over again, you could just press a button and it would go back, and you could correct your mistakes right then and there. Now, what this also meant was that you still had to use a lot of your own skills. You had to know how to spell, and so that you could actually catch the mistakes in the first place. All I could think about was how much time it was going to save me, and in the end, it did. Looking back, this truly was one of my first golden time tools. So I want to ask you, what was one of your first golden time tools? Something that genuinely saved you time. It doesn't have to be business related. It could be a household item. I remember a supposed time-saving tool, kitchen related, that I purchased decades ago, an apple peeler. You know the kind, you put the apple on the spikes and you turn the handle? Well, I'm actually turning my hand right now, so you can't see me, but I'm turning the handle as if you're peeling the outside of the apple off. Well, the blades peel the apple, and it cores it, and the apple turns out perfectly. Except, what I learned very quickly was that by buying the $10 version versus investing in a better one, that was not a time-saving investment at all. The $10 version wasted more time than I can tell you and created a large bucket of frustration. Now, this is an important conversation, one that expands outside of the kitchen and into the office and our lives. Sometimes when we try to save money as a business tool, buying an app or something like that, that's supposed to save us time, we end up losing both, time and money. And that happens more often than we'd like to admit, especially now with all the online technology subscriptions leaning heavily on AI as our next golden time-saving tool. So we've gone from apple peelers to AI. Well, let's take a closer look at the AI part. For many, AI feels new, but that's really because the user interface has changed so much in the last couple of years. In truth, AI has been helping us save time for years. We've been interacting with versions of it for a long time. Search engines, automated responses, coding systems, all of it building towards what we're seeing now. And yes, it looks like it could be a golden time tool to add to the list. But is it? With AI tools that can write, create, respond, generate, and almost instantly give us anything that we want, the first reaction is, this is going to save me so much time. But like any innovation, we have to take the time to learn more about it, practice using it, and truly understand where it fits into our lives and where it doesn't. Because here's the truth for me. AI can save you time, absolutely. From research to outlining to content support, it can be incredibly helpful, but it can't replace the human experience. I remember the first time I asked an AI platform to write a bio about me. I put in a few notes, hit enter, and when it came back, my first reaction was, wow, that's so cool. And then I read it again and again, and I realized it was full of platitudes. Everything sounded so polished, impressive, but it didn't feel like me. It didn't feel like I had written it. It was a first draft and a good one, but it can be really hard to change that first draft when it looks so perfect. I'm telling you, take the time to add your voice. It's worth it. Sometimes the change will be subtle, and other times a little more dramatic. And that's where we start to learn. How we use AI matters. The prompts we give it, the input we provide, and the time we take to shape it. That's what makes the difference. That's how we turn it into a golden time tool. I recently had an interview with Jordash Johnson, a transformation strategist, and he shared his perspective on how AI can be integrated into our lives effectively and efficiently without removing the human element, using it to build a time-saving base and then taking the time to bring the human voice back into your content. And that really landed for me. Because when we use AI that way, it's less like a replacement and more like having a content editor or researcher. After that interview, I took a really honest look at myself and my relationship with AI and how I was using it. And what I found was that there were areas where I had been leaning a little too heavily on it, without making sure my voice was still being heard. I had been using AI to help create my newsletters. The title of my newsletter is Minutes Matter. Ironic, isn't it? At first, it felt like a win. It helped me save time and get the newsletters out on time to help me keep up the algorithms. But although I was getting the message out, was it the message I really wanted? I looked at the open rates and the lack of engagement, and then I went back and read them. All of them. I realized why. They all sounded the same. I had not invested the human time into developing that relationship with my readers. And that's not who I want to be. So I stopped. Completely. And I wrote an email to my community, letting them know that I was going back to writing from my own voice, my own hand, and my own heart. Would it be as perfect and polished? Maybe, maybe not. But the week after that email went out, the response I got, well, it was heartwarming and very telling. And what that told me is something really important. People understand AI is here. They know it's not going anywhere. And each of us has to decide which parts of AI help us to save time and which parts need to stay human. Because the people interacting with your content still want you. They want your voice, your story, your heart. So for me, AI is still a golden time tool when used intentionally, when used with purpose. But it cannot replace the heart and soul of what I create. And that means I have work to do. I have to set aside the time. I have to be intentional. The very things I teach, I have to live. So I want to leave you with this question today. What really matters to you? Where do you want to place your intentional time? And where can tools like AI support you without replacing you? Next week in episode 13, I'll be sharing the interview I did with Jordash Johnson, the AI transformation strategist I mentioned earlier. His energy is electric, and his passion for using AI to enhance the human experience will give you a great deal to think about. Thank you for being here and walking with me through this journey of time from apple peelers to AI. Thank you so much for spending your time with me on this episode of Your Productivity Pulse. If today's conversation sparked a moment of action or reflection, I invite you to keep that momentum going. More practical strategies designed to enhance productivity, reduce stress, and weave balance back into your life can be found by joining my newsletter at vanartexpression.com. Once there, just head over to your Productivity Pulse podcast page to sign up, or you can find the link in the show notes. Remember, intention plus accountability equals productivity. Until next time, keep listening to your pulse.